All right. It is 12:38. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media with me, Mari Mukwanda. It was the year 2006. Licensing for international applicants is bound to change forever. The agony of international medical professionals, especially Filipino nurses, who went through the rigorous, confusing, and risky process of filing their application for the NCLEX about to end. The whole process was about to become an easy feat, and they would owe it to one man, Dr. Elbe Akman. Dr. Elbe Akman is an international award winning entrepreneur with an MBA degree from City University of Washington State and a doctorate in management. He's also known as the person who revolutionized how medical professionals apply to get licensed internationally, specifically for the US and many other in demand countries. And he's currently joining me from the Philippines. Good day. I'm not sure what time it is. I think I can say good day. Good day, Dr. LB.
Well, yeah, it's coming 7 o'clock evening here. Thanks. Good evening, and it's honor to be on your show on Salam Media. Thank you so much for accepting me, your show.
Right. Thank you so much for taking the time. Now, give us some insight on your professional background and how did you get into this field?
Well, I was in Silicon Valley, is in certain management jobs, and it's an IT. Silicon Valley is more on IT businesses, and I was in the. This is in early 1990s when the internet was just starting and booming, and I did some entrepreneurial things in Silicon Valley, and I also worked for some major companies. But then I decided to start my own business, maybe the third time, and I end up finding myself in a completely different field, which is on hiring, recruiting nurses for United States. And how did I end up there? Because as you mentioned, I'm an MBA, and I saw an opportunity for business, and I ended up going to the Philippines, starting a business on helping, assisting, bringing nurses to United States. We may have lost connection because I'm not hearing anything.
All right, but
Okay, I
probably
can
there
hear you now.
is some sound issues. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, please note that I am there. It's just on you. I'm giving you a chance to say your bit.
Oh,
All right, now you have changed the way medical professionals get licensed for work abroad. What has inspired you to revolutionize this application process and start an
right. So when I decided to recruit nurses from Singapore and then Philippines, which I did for several years, I realized there is a major problem with the whole process. And one of the reason is because United States, there in the United States we have 50 states, and each state is like a country, a different country, and each state has a different set of requirements and qualifications. So each state has its own board of nursing, let's say, and there are different requirements and qualifications. And that's basically, it's a very decentralized system. And for international nurses who want to apply to NCLEX, basically become a USRN, a registered nurse in the United States, migrate to United States, they need to pass certain exams, and one of them is NCLEX, to become a USRN. they need to pass that exam. Now, the application process is pretty complicated because, again, 50 states. First, you need to find out if you are qualified or not. And aside from that, um, there are steps that they need to follow. For example, credential evaluation services part, they need to go through that, and then if you have background checks, and then uh, they need to be found eligible by the state of nursing they are applying to. And after all that, once they pass the stage, which is not that easy, and it may take from 2 months to sometimes 1 year to pass the state they're applying to, then they need to get the authorization to take the test, which is called ATT, and then once they receive the ATT, then they can schedule their exam. So it's a long process, very complicated, and it may take very long. During this process, I've seen international nurses are making a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. For example, they send the wrong filling out the application. For example, many mistakes in that. Sending the application in the wrong departments, making the payments to the wrong departments, sending in different in the wrong sequence of things. There's the whole process is it should be done in certain process and in sequence, and if you don't follow that one, then you basically your application can be rejected. So not only that, all the payments that you have submitted, for example, can be forfeited. So these kind of things, I've seen a lot of nurses are suffering from that, and they lose hard-earned monies in the process.
Yeah, well, I can just imagine that, you think that you've got everything in order and you're ready to take the exam, you do it, you go for it, and then all of a sudden things are not really thought that they would be. Now, tell us about the nursing community in the Philippines. What are some of their most challenging struggles in the industry?
Well, now there are a lot of struggles in this industry. Of course, nurses are um, in demand, and during this pandemic time, there have been a lot of struggles for the nurses. They've been understaffed here, especially in the states. By the way, we give the services from the United States, where I'm from, and also in the Philippines. We have a sister company, and similar problems also in the states. Actually, even more. The nursing shortage, and in every field, actually, not only nurses, but all medical professionals, all kind of medical professionals are in shortage in the states. Now, uh, I am actually very excited to share something with you that observing this field, medical professionals, the demand for the medical professionals. Now, there's pre-COVID and there's post-COVID phase, right? Pre-COVID, there was already major demand for medical professionals worldwide, especially for nurses, but worldwide for any medical professional. So um, now this demand was being filled by for the United States. When it comes to nurses, 80% of the nurses were coming from the Philippines. And one of the reason is I think well, the education system is pretty much built on American system, and then of course people in the Philippines speak English very well, just like South Africa probably, and those two things have been
Mhm.
a great advantage. Now, so what very excited to share with you is uh, knowing the advantage of those two advantages are also existing, I believe, in South Africa. I don't see the numbers matching. For example, in 2007, 8, 9, when we 2007, when we started licensing nurses, uh, there were about 20,000 Filipino nurses taking NCLEX exam, applying for US basically RN licensing exam. Now, 20,000 a year, and about 15,000 of them were going to United States, and they were getting EB3 visa, which is green card. And with that green card, they can bring their loved ones, their spouses, their kids, so they can move and live permanently in United States. So this is different than H1B visa, for example. So this is a great advantage, and is, if you know, in the United States, nurses are making about six, seven, eight, $9,000 a month. It's a very well-paying job. So now nurses, Filipino nurses, took advantage of this opportunity, and they've been taking this opportunity advantage of this opportunity for the last 50 years, for 50 years. So, and I don't see anything near to those numbers that's coming from South Africa. I see some numbers getting not that close, maybe, but in thousands from India, for example. I see some nurses coming from South Korea, but from South Africa, we don't see much nurses going to United States. And by the way, the demand is not for United States only. We assist
Mm-hmm.
applicants, medical applicants for any countries that where the medical professionals are in demand, and that could be UK, Australia, and Middle East for sure. For example, United Arab Emirates is hiring heavily. Saudi is hiring. Oman, Qatar, uh, they are hiring, and they are also paying pretty well. I would say 4,000, 5,000, $6,000 a month. These are good numbers for international nurses, and I want to see South African medical professionals to take advantage of this opportunity too, and we can help them with their licensing process, just like we help about 65,000 nurses to get licensed, and medical professionals for all those countries I mentioned as NEAC.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually was chatting to a guest earlier on who is a South African, and she's a medical nurse currently working in Saudi Arabia at the moment. And South African nurses are looking for opportunities in the European countries. So I think US is also one of the countries of choice. So if anyone is listening and interested, I'm sure they'll be glad to contact you when you leave your contact details later on. Now, how has the poor communities benefited from your work?
Which communities again?
The poor communities.
Right. That depends the support those communities are getting from their governments or other
Mm-hmm.
institutions. The licensing process is, I wouldn't say it's a cheap process. It costs about, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 to basically get the review, prepare for the review, and prepare the documentation, and then get licensed. So in the States, for example, for Middle Eastern countries, these numbers could be a little bit less, but more or less, you're talking about $1,000 to $2,000 that they need to spend. But in return, though, the money they will be making is worth the money to spend for that licensing process, right? Um, and also, there are a lot of opportunities. We have also in the Philippines, for example, those nurses who get licensed as USRN. They also work for call centers in the Philippines, and they make very high salaries for Philippines market, because they are USRNs, and they are hired by US call centers operating in the Philippines. So getting licensed internationally basically opens a lot of doors to medical professionals. And
Mm-hmm.
to answer your question again, yes, from the Middle East, a lot of Filipinos actually see, for example, Middle East as a stepping stone. So they get licensed. first in the Middle East, and then they gain experience, and then with that experience, because certain states require 2 years experience, some of them they don't. With that experience, they move on. They get licensed for United States, and then they move to United States or Europe, as you said. I know Germany is hiring nurses, and recently I heard Japan is hiring. So there's great demand for medical professionals, any type of medical professionals.
Mm-hmm. Right. And how can people get a hold of you should they wish information regarding assistance?
Well, they can go to our website, medicalexamcenter.com or medexamcenter.com, and they can go to our Facebook, NEAC Medical Exam Center, and we have about 60, 70 employees who system online. Actually, 70-80% of our applicants are coming online from all over the world. So the whole system works online. So regardless wherever they are, if they want to get licensed for United States or for any other country, they can apply online to go to our website, or they can visit one of our, I mean, enter to one of our chat rooms from the website or Facebook, and we can help them live. And the process is very simple, and we can guide them through it. And we prepare all the applications. We prepare
Mm-hmm.
everything that needs to be sent to the institutions, exam coordinators or board of nursing or credential evaluation related processes. We guide the applicant. We help them filling out the forms uh, until they get licensed. We are with the applicant, and that's actually that's the revolutionary side of it. Before, nurses used to um, decide which state they can apply to, right? Find out which state can I apply. Do I qualify at this state or that state? So again, 50 states. You have to study each state. That would be very, very difficult to do. Now, 50 states are uh, again 50 states decentralized. That's why. So what we do is the initial service we provide is consultancy. So when an applicant decides to become a US RN, so the first step is finding out their background and see which states they are qualified to apply, and sometimes they qualify to several states, and then we say, okay, this state is a little bit faster to process, this one is a little bit cheaper to process. So what I mean, so this consultancy part is really, really very helpful for them to find out what states they can apply to, and then from there we let them know what's next step.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Akman. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. But
Okay,
thank you for sharing that with us. And I hope our listeners, wherever they are, will take advantage of the medical exam center to get better opportunities globally. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
thank you.
Dr. Elbe Akman, an international award winning entrepreneur with an MBA degree, as well as a doctorate in management. And what he does, well, he has revolutionized how medical professionals apply to get licensed internationally, specifically for the US and many other in-demand countries like Philippines as and South Africa. And Dr. Ackerman wants to see more South Africans taking advantage of this opportunity, better opportunities abroad. You are listening to the Mid Morning. We will be right back.